Well, I have decided to come to a point where I just have to cover the news that's affecting Queens, and I'm only going to stick to the crime issue in Queens because I just feel that a lot of the media, most cases, not all the time, but in some cases, we feel like we're getting ignored here in Queens. It's not fair. We deserve all the attention too, and it seems that we feel like we've become the new Staten Island. Let's face it, I've certainly felt that we've become the new forgotten borough. Primarily because it's the Long Island effect. You know, everyone's so focused on Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn. What about Queens? And we're ignored here. We're constantly ignored here in most cases. Yeah, not all the time, but there's a lot going on. And as usual, Channel One, I said I wasn't going to cover it as much, but when something big does happen, especially in my neighborhood, I have to cover it. It's like my obligation to do so. So something serious happened in Fresh Meadows that we need to cover, and uh, obviously we got this. And okay, maybe I'm a little bit wrong on that point, but obviously I'm not going to go to in the papers. You think the papers are really going to cover what happened? No, they're probably not going to. The Queen's Courier's not going to have what happened in Fresh Meadows until next week's edition. Bottom line. Bottom line. So you see here, wow, look at that. So Channel 1's maybe watching my videos. I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. I really don't know at this point. Because I just do not want to constantly talk about it as much. So this is all they have in Queens. Really. Yeah, I don't want to let it get to me. But, we have to talk about what's going on. So let's get to what happened in Fresh Meadows. So an elderly truck driver fatally struck a woman from Hollis in Fresh Meadows. So let's read this. Police from the 107 precinct respond to a 911 call of an 83-year-old Hollis woman struck at the corner of Union Turnpike and 193rd Street and discovered the victim unconscious and unresponsive, lying on the ground with trauma to her body. EMS responded and transported Cecilia Amaristo to Queens General Hospital in Jamaica, where she later died. A preliminary investigation revealed that a 72-year-old man operating a 2019 Freightliner FedEx truck made a right turn from southbound 193rd Street to westbound Union Turnpike, where he struck Amaristo while she was crossing on the side of the intersection. The truck driver remained on the scene. There are no arrests, and the investigation is ongoing by the Highway District Collision Investigation Squad. So let's say you Google Fresh Meadows on the news section. Let's say you want to Google Fresh Meadows for an example. And let's say you want to go to the news section. Right now, this is all we have. Why is the Queen's Courier repeating the same article? And yet, I found that on Facebook that Pix11 had an article, which we're not even going to read the same thing. Obviously, what's the media supposed to do? They can't go to the scene. It was a quick developing story. You can't just send a reporter. Okay, so let's go to the maps, and I'll show you where this happened in Fresh Meadows. So this happened right around here. This is 193rd and Union Turnpike, and I know this area very well. This is Cunningham Park, right around here. So maybe she was leaving the park. Maybe she was going into the park. Because it says that she... When did this even happen? Did this happen on Wednesday? Oh, this happened Thursday morning. So what was she doing in the park on Thursday? I mean, it was cold. It was chilly yesterday. Because remember, we had beautiful weather on Wednesday. So I was thinking maybe she was out Wednesday. No, this is actually Thursday. Happened yesterday. So there's a theory that she probably was exiting the park right around here. Because there's... I mean, the problem is there's no surveillance cameras in this area. So that's not really going to help the police in the investigation. Now, the only place that might have a surveillance camera is the bodega right here. Because this is the bodega right around here, around the corner. So maybe they have surveillance. I don't know. Maybe the kitchen and bath does. Maybe the pediatric eye doctor has surveillance. Because it says here the truck driver, I just want to confirm. Yes, okay, so he made a right turn from 193rd. So I'm assuming if the truck was making a right turn, then she was probably exiting the park. Or probably got off the Q46. But again, if I'm assuming everything is the way it is, they're probably going to ask for surveillance video from the bodega. Because I'm thinking that's the only place that would have surveillance video. Or also, you have the... you have this place over here. I don't know what this... I think this is a medical office. Yeah, a gastroenterologist. Okay, so maybe they'll have surveillance video as well. But yeah, very, very unfortunate. You know, we get ignored time and time again. So let's go back to the Courier, because a lot's going on in Queens. And I want to see if they have the woman who was struck. Yeah, okay, so you know what? I'll just read the Spectrum. Actually, no, yeah. Courier does have an article. Okay. We're not even going to read from Spectrum News because they are just not going to be useful to us today. So here we go. NYPD is looking for a crook who attacked and robbed a woman at a Queens subway station on Thursday evening, February 24th. According to cops, on February 24th, a 57-year-old woman was walking down the stairs in the Queens Plaza subway station when an unknown man approached her from behind. The suspect licked the... Wait, what? Licked the victim down the stairs? Hang on. You know what? Let's actually read the Spectrum News article and see what they had to say, because I'm actually watching Channel 7 on mute right now, and they're talking about another stabbing in Brooklyn, but, you know, this is what I mean. All the subway, oh, okay, yeah, kicked her from behind. Really? Really? I mean, they really need to correct their typos at AM New York. That's all I'm going to say. Pushed the victim down the stairs and pulled out a hammer, striking the victim several times in the head. The suspect then took off in the victim's purse before fleeing the scene on foot southbound on Queens Plaza South. The victim suffered a fractured skull and lacerations to her head and was taken to paramedics to Weill Cornell Medical Center, where she is listed as being in critical condition. So, we do have surveillance. Described as a man with a cane wearing a black hooded coat, black mask, blue jeans, and black shoes. So, obviously, he did push her. And I know Queens Plaza very well. Right by my deli on Thompson Street I used to go to. Yep. I mean, look how disturbing this is. He just bashes her with a hammer. And yet you have Eric Adams claiming, oh, we're trying to keep the subway safe. Well, Mayor, why are you letting people bash other people with a hammer and... And again, Eric Adams is another example of why we are forgotten in Queens. Another poor example of... I mean, you people in Astoria and Long Island City are now going to have to deal with your mess. I'm sorry, but we all know how you guys voted. Fresh Meadows overwhelmingly voted for Sliwa. So, keeping in mind, there's actually a demographic shift going on in this area. So if Curtis Lewa decides to run again in 2025, it may actually benefit him. If he decides to. Okay, so we're going to go to Long Island City for a second, and I want to show you where did this happen. Yeah, here's Court Square, and here is Queens Plaza. So, right around here where this happened. And, of course, we're going to go to where I like to go to. Right here. Yep, so I've taken the walk from Queens Plaza before. On Thompson Street. So I know exactly where this is. It's like if I want to go to there, I really have to watch my back if I ever want to go back to Long Island City. Okay, so just want to see if I can take a look, because I want to go all the way down, and I just want to see if they have an update on what happened. Yeah, they're not going to have an update on what happened at Cohen's. So what I want to do is actually read this. This is more of an urgent story as well. Burglary pattern in Northeast Queens. And this is where I'm going to talk about Nassau County. This is where I'm going to transition into it before we get to the other stuff in Queens. So, we've had a lot of burglaries going on in the Northeast section. And from what I'm seeing on my Facebook group that I'm a part of that represents the Fresh Meadows community, there also have been burglaries reported in the Fresh Meadows area, which doesn't really surprise me. But let's read this. NYPD is offering a reward up to $3,500 for information on the suspect who police said first struck on January 18th when he entered a home near 170th Place and Lithuania Avenue. There was a secured door setting off an alarm. The suspect fled empty-handed. The suspect is believed to be between 25 and 35 years old and struck again on January 26th inside a home near 35th Avenue and 164th Street in Murray Hill, when a 74-year-old man returned home and discovered he was missing property. An investigation determined that earlier in the day, the suspect entered through a secured door and removed electronics and jewelry worth $80,000 before taking off on foot. On January 31st, a woman returned home near 159th Street and Laborium Avenue in Flushing and reported missing property. An investigation determined that the suspect and two other men entered the residence through a secured door and made off with more than $22,000. The NYPD released surveillance video of one of the suspects inside a home near 45th Avenue and 169th Street in Auburndale on the morning of February 1st. A 38-year-old woman returned home to find missing jewelry and possessions valued around $1,400 were missing. There's three more. It even gets good here. Right near Casino Park, a 34-year-old woman on February 4th was robbed of missing property from her home near Poplar Street and Robinson Street. The suspect entered through a secured door at around 12 noon and removed jewelry and electronics around $16,000. On Valentine's Day, the man entered a home near 35th Avenue and 164th Street. Same area. Wow. And the most recent incident happened last week on Wednesday, February 16th. A 66-year-old man returned to his home near 166th Street and Jasmine Avenue, north of Casino Park. Property was missing. There was an alarm set off, so we do have a description. He was wearing a beige baseball cap, black mask, and a blue jacket. So, I mean, again, this is what's going on. And then, I want to go into Nassau County. Now, why are we going into Nassau County? Because it seems that their main leader, their county executive, Bruce Blakeman, actually is taking a stance against crime. So watch this.
We have other news for you. Several people have been arrested for a string of bank robberies in Nassau County. News 12's crime reporter Krista McNally tells us why police believe the heists were the work of career criminals.
It's kind of scary the world we live in these days.
Anthony Moresco was at Chase Bank with his son, which is one of 7 banks that Nassau police say have been hit in a string of robberies that have gone on since September. Police say those who have been arrested in connection with this robbery pattern are career criminals.
These gentlemen belong to stay in jail. They've been out and they commit more crimes. They go arrest them, they go out, they commit more crimes.
4 men were arrested on Wednesday.
Exactly, and this is why we need to repeal the bail reform law. Because people like this, who are threatening our communities in Queens, do not belong back out on the street. And this is the same, I told you all, this is the Nassau County effect, folks. This is the Long Island effect. It's like, we know what's going on. We're getting ignored in Queens, and the people of Long Island are also getting ignored.
In connection with these robberies, and 2 additional suspects were picked up a few months ago. Nassau police say that the career criminals would walk directly into the banks, go to the teller and demand money. In some cases, they even lifted their shirt where there was a gun underneath.
It's pretty intimidating, right?
The alleged thieves threatened the tellers with notes and made off with thousands of dollars, according to police.
I don't know why they hit this, because they hit it and they can run, I guess.
There's some pretty crazy laws that we have in this wonderful state of New York these days.
Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman joined police and demanded action from the state on cashless bail, which he says has contributed to criminals being let out and committing additional crimes.
And our state elected officials have to get serious about changing laws that give criminals more rights than victims.
And as for Anthony, he says,
Think about it! Think about it, folks! Nassau County technically has their own version of Curtis Lewa. And his name is Bruce Blakeman. Understand how opposite things are. We have a mayor who is busy playing nightclub all the time. Meanwhile, you have a man in Nassau who... He reminds you of that strict high school principal. Anybody remember, okay, I never remembered it, but other people probably remember it. You had a strict high school principal who would take a stand, and if something was out of line, he'd get involved. Yeah, that's the type of person Bruce Blakeman is. Eric Adams is like the reckless teenage kid. That's how bad it is. I wish we had someone like Bruce Blakeman in Queens, but no, we don't get that. No, because we're too stupid, because we have people in Astoria that didn't vote for Sliwa, and that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. By the way, there was an anti-Semitic hate crime. See if I can find it. That's very weird, because Channel 7 just showed it a while ago. Let's see. So, here we go. I am so sorry, folks. I just saw it on Channel 7, and I have no idea where it is. You're going to have to apologize. I'm going a little bit off topic. Here we go. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. This is it. I found it. Good. Another anti-Semitic hate crime.
this morning, police are searching for a group that attacked 2 school bus company employees in Brooklyn. Video shows the group chasing and then attacking a man. Both victims are 70-year-old men. This happened early yesterday morning in a parking lot on 49th Street in Borough Park. The suspects kicked and punched one of the victims repeatedly. They also stole several cell phone chargers from the buses before taking off. One victim was taken to the hospital but is expected to be okay.
Now, let's rewind the video and put it on mute. Notice that's Hebrew right there. The police are going to have to investigate this as a hate crime. And if something goes down that is anti-Semitic in the city, that's another thing I'm not going to give up covering. Because that's a big deal to me. Remember, I'm Jewish. And this is a big deal to me. If something's going down, I have to cover it. It's like an obligation. And Channel 1's not going to cover it because, we don't want to talk about that. In fact, I found this out, right? Nobody from Channel 1, their anchors or their street reporters, none of them are Jewish. So, that's kind of suspicious, isn't it? So, before I get off topic, there is a couple more we do got to read, so I just want to organize this. And I want to read this. I'm not going to get to every single tidbit, but I want to get to the important stuff. Let's get to this. This is an important one. Queens Village man busted in random attack in Forest Hills. Queens Village man was taken into custody Tuesday afternoon for the senseless attack of a 75-year-old woman on Queens Boulevard in January. Oh, so we remember this one. So they cuffed 30-year-old Trevon Brown of Winchester Boulevard and charged him with assault and harassment for an incident that occurred at 12:30 p.m. on Wednesday, January 12th. So, this got attention. Channel 7 covered it. In fact, they interviewed the woman. And we know what happened. And very disturbing. I'm glad they finally caught a suspect. Because that shouldn't happen. No. Okay, so next up, we're going to look at this. Brooklyn man was shot to death in a home in Queens. So a man from Brooklyn, Daniel Ortiz at Grand Street in Williamsburg, was shot to death on Washington's birthday, 3:57 p.m. on February 21st. St. Albans section, Mexico Street near Turland Drive. Officers from the 113th Precinct got a 911 call about the shooting. Ortiz was found with bullet wounds to his shoulder. EMS rushed the victim to Jamaica Hospital where he passed away a short time later. So, there's no details of what happened or what led up to it, but still, I mean, another example of how we constantly are ignored in Queens, and then we have this going on. 2 teens injured after scooter collides with car in Glendale. So this happened on Washington's birthday. Police from the 104th Precinct on Monday, February 21st, in Ridgewood responded to a 911 call regarding a vehicle collision at St. John Cemetery near 88th Street and discovered a 15-year-old boy with injuries to his right leg and a 16-year-old girl with severe head trauma. EMS responded and transported both the boy to Cohen's Children's in Glen Oaks in stable condition. The girl was taken to Jamaica Hospital in critical condition. So, the boy was operating a Yamaha scooter from 2021. The girl was riding as a passenger. So, these are just kids, man. So, 2021 Mazda CX-30 was on Cooper Avenue approaching 88th Street when the scooter struck the vehicle, ejecting both riders. A 30-year-old man who was driving the Mazda and a 27-year-old woman who was in the front passenger seat was taken to Jamaica Hospital. So, they were treated and released. So, the Highway District Collision Investigation Squad is further looking into it. So, let's find St. John Cemetery. Let's pull it up. So this is St. John Cemetery. And we're going to look for 88th Street. See if we can find it. This is very weird. Yeah, Cooper Avenue and 88th Street. Yeah, right around here. So right here. So this is where it happened. So right by Atlas Park, believe it or not. No surprise, because I'm thinking, wait a minute, this happened right by Atlas Park, didn't it? And then I got it correct. I mean, this is a very narrow street. That I do remember. These are a lot of narrow streets. This is what I mean when I'm not paranoid about narrow streets. I mean, we have a lot of them in Queens. So, then we got this. Scooter was stolen from a Flushing bubble shop. 40-52 Main Street. So this is right by the 109 precinct. So it says here the suspect took off a $600 delivery scooter from the Flushing shop. So, suspect 2530 with a medium skin tone, last seen wearing a black jacket, red sleeves, a yellow t-shirt, and a black and white baseball cap. So, this is what I mean with Queens. I mean, we are constantly ignored time and time and time again. Oh, this just broke. This is the last one I'm going to read. This just literally came up. Elderly Corona man killed while cycling near Flushing Meadow, Corona Park. So, I guess this is where we're going to have to end the video. And this is the thumbnail I'm most likely going to have to end up using for today's video. Okay. So, this is the last one. So it says, Lin Wing Ching of 43rd Avenue was riding his bike near Flushing Meadows, Corona Park around 11:13 p.m. when he was struck by an unidentified object in the road near 40th Drive and 95th Street. The collision caused the victim to fall off the bike and strike his head. EMS responded to the scene and transported him to Elmhurst Hospital where he was pronounced dead. So, very, very unfortunate. So, I'm going to wrap up this video by just saying that I cannot stop talking about what's going on in Queens. Or if something anti-Semitic happens, because it's just my obligation to do it. I have to cover it. And, okay, you can say that I have other things that I like to cover, but, you know, I like Manhattan. Don't get me wrong. Everybody knows I like Manhattan. But primarily, I want to focus on Queens, folks. You got to understand where I'm coming from. And if something's going down in Queens, you know I'm going to cover it. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching.